Welcome to the AI Go Learning Hackathon Workshop for Java. So the topics we're going to go over is what IDEs or integrated development environment you should use for Java, the data types, the variables, the conditionals. As of today, it is currently being ran on over 30 billion devices across the world. And then we have Leftwid, but there's also seven more. But these are kind of like the major ones. But for the sake of this presentation, I'm going to use IntelliJ. And there's also a complex type that I will be using throughout the session. So the first, then we have a character, which is any number, letter, or character that you can put inside of a single quotation. And I kind of put some examples here, but I'll show some examples here in a minute with the code in my code. So I got some examples. So byte, uh, you can see is pretty short. And then we have long, which is very big and also has a little L at the beginning. Then we have double and float, and double is much bigger than a float. And going back to the integers, if I put in a value, I'll get an error because it basically says that's too big. And then we have Boolean type, which as you can see is just simply a true or false statement. And you can see we can put in either, it can be either a letter, a number, or a data type. There's more complex type, but for the meeting, I decided to just use the basic one because string is probably one of the more common ones you'll use. Although there is other complex types such as arrays and objects. I wanted to use like the more common ones, you know.
Your recommendations like support better Java or than VS Code, something like that.
And the way you would set it up is you would do the data type followed by whatever name you want to give it. You can name it anything, but don't give it like a name that is like, and then you set it equal to any value that matches the data type. So you can see some example at the bottom. We have int num equals 5, double dub equals 2.5. Excuse me. Boolean true or false equals true. Character C. Actually, I'll give it to you. That's basically what it is. But to kind of go more specific in it, in Java, a conditional is used if we only want 15 divided by 2 would be equal to 7. I think it's at the bottom. I think it already ran. So as you can see with here, and then whatever you want the code to do, if that condition was true, you would put in between the brackets. Now, the second one we're going to do is very similar, but there is one key difference. The int is odd. And therefore, this should point out that it is indeed odd. That's good. That's good. That's what I like to hear. Again, just to kind of showcase how you do it. You basically set up normally like it's an if statement, and then you're going to put else, another set of brackets, and then whatever you want to run in that port in there. So the last conditional we're going to go over uh is else if. Give me a random number, another random number. 35. I like this. I like that. 35 is a nice number. If 35 is divisible by five, oh, use the wrong symbol. Is divisible by 5, or so as you can see it did point out 35 is divisible by 5. So we're going to go ahead and run it again. Although we should get generally the same output. So going up here, we did get B is 0, B is 1, B is 2, B is 3. I'm going to flip these two around. And again, that's because it does run the code before it checks the condition, even if the code may not be, even if the condition may not be true while it's running the code.
I guess it's kind of cryptic to me, like B plus plus, something like that, sir.
No problem, no problem. Any questions for this one before we move on to the next one?
So I would just like to repeat it again what I understand. It adds one and then if it's check the variable, then it's stopped to where the variable is the designated variable, right?
So just kind of let me show that one. As you can see, so basically what happens is when we set up the initialization value, it's so that way at some point this condition is no longer true. So let me ask you a question. Why would we want this condition to no longer be true at a certain point?
Oh, because I think it means like x is equal 0. So if you will add one to it and then until it becomes 7, then
Mhm.
it will stop. It will it will not print anymore because it's like already false.
until the code crashes, and we don't want that to happen. So we have to make it at some point. Actually, no, that doesn't work. I'm gonna do -1, fix it back to normal, and then I'm gonna move on to the last topic I had planned. The two ways are print and print line, which are very similar, but the main difference is that print line will do a line break. So the last topic I'm gonna go over is scanner, and scanner is what we use to take in user's input. Is you're gonna do whenever you want your code that takes in user data, you're going to make a variable. Here I did user output, and you're going to set it equal to scan the name of your scanner dot next, whatever the data type is. Here, since user input is an integer, I did user option is equal to scan dot next event. Put in 3 is going to print out spring is lovely because of the flowers and weather. So basically, an array is what we would use if we want to store a set of, and then you're going to put brackets next to it. Next, you're going to give it a name. And then you're going to set it equal to new string with the brackets. Okay, I'm going to do it the other way. So I'm going to do 5. It's because with arrays, the first index is 0 and not 1. Yeah. So it's actually, so basically it goes, in this case, even though it's 5, it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is still 5, but so now we're going to do month dot length x plus plus. Basically, you do this. This is called a for each loop, which isn't too difficult. So now we're going to do system dot out dot print month x. Yeah, I'm more used to using for loops than for each loops, to be honest. But as you can see with the first for loop,
Like the month, right? The 9, 11, 13, 15, and 17. Like it prints out there.
and here we're going to do brackets, and we're going to do July, December. Probably misspelled that, but it's okay. So now we're going to do for each loop. We're going to do string dot length. I'm not super. I haven't done for each loops enough. That's the issue.
It was definitely refreshing because I guess in the past I have like I learned like Python, C, and
Yeah, it's very similar to C sharp and Python, I would say. Anything you're still kind of confused on? Anything you would like to know?
I am not like familiar. I I'm not kind of familiar to it. However, I get the general idea about the.
I'm not sure because I don't plan the meetings. I would probably email them, but
Sure, it was about the Zoom meetings. How often, like, what time do you usually like have Zoom meetings?